Thinking about the pertussis vaccine is a perfect segue to discuss different types of vaccines. The pertussis vaccine is an acellular vaccine, meaning it is not a cell. The first vaccine, the one for smallpox, was cowpox, a live virus that did not cause the disease it protected against, but was closely related. So vaccines can be broken into two major groups, live infectious agents and dead ones. Attenuated vaccines consist of live bacteria or viruses. However, these pathogens are less virulent than the ones that cause disease. Attenuated refers to the lessened virulence. No attenuated bacteria are currently used in the U.S. The BCG vaccine for tuberculosis is an example used elsewhere. It is a strain of Mycobacterium bovis related to the bacteria that causes disease, Mycobacterium tuberculosis. Mycobacterium bovis became attenuated and lost its ability to cause disease by being cultured in artificial media in the laboratory for many generations. The bacteria adapted to growing in the laboratory and lost virulence factors that enabled it to grow well in humans and cause disease. There are several examples of vaccines that are attenuated viruses. The FluMist vaccine is one example. This is a nasal mist vaccine that protects against influenza. The MMR vaccine protects against 3 viral diseases: measles, mumps, and rubella. Another example is the rotavirus vaccine. This one protects infants from severe rotavirus infection. It can cause deadly diarrhea. The advantage of an attenuated vaccine is the response it generates closely mimics a natural infection. After infection has been resolved, a person is often left with protective immunity. An attenuated virus or bacteria still replicates in the body, but does not have all the virulence factors it needs to cause disease. It provokes a robust immune response, and the immune system clears the attenuated virus, but in the meantime, it makes excellent memory T cells and B cells, and lots of antibodies to the vaccine strain. Most of our vaccines are inactivated viruses. These consist of killed bacteria or virus, or acellular preparations where only proteins or parts of the bacteria or virus are used as a vaccine. We can divide inactivated vaccines into 3 major categories listed here: inactivated whole agent, toxoid, and subunit vaccines. The annual flu shot is an example of an inactivated whole agent vaccine. Influenza is grown in chicken eggs, purified and chemically inactivated, so the flu shot is an injection of killed influenza virus. The polio vaccine is also an inactivated vaccine. A subunit vaccine is one where only a few antigens from the pathogen are used in the vaccine. Usually these are proteins that come from the pathogen. Typically they are produced as recombinant proteins and not isolated from the pathogen. The acellular pertussis vaccine is an example of a subunit vaccine. Three proteins from Bordetella pertussis are used to form this vaccine. Many of the more recent vaccines are subunit vaccines. The hepatitis B vaccine is formed from surface proteins from this virus. Gardasil, which protects against HPV, this causes cervical cancer and genital warts, is also a subunit vaccine. The next two groups of vaccines are essentially special classes of subunit vaccines. They are composed of a single component, a protein or carbohydrate, derived from the pathogen. Toxoid vaccines are purified toxins that have been modified to eliminate their toxic quality. The benefit of a toxoid vaccine is it stimulates the production of neutralizing antibodies, so that if you are infected and exposed to the toxin, you will already have circulating levels of antibodies against the toxin that will protect you from disease. Examples of toxoid vaccines are the diphtheria and tetanus vaccines. Conjugated vaccines refers to two macromolecules that are linked together or conjugated. This is used to drive an immune response to a poor antigen that is found on the pathogen. Examples include vaccines that protect against bacterial meningitis, such as Haemophilus influenza type B or the Hib vaccine. And also the pneumococcal vaccine that protects against Streptococcus pneumoniae. These vaccines stimulate antibodies against the capsule that the bacteria have. In each case, the antigen is a carbohydrate or polysaccharide that forms the capsule. Polysaccharides are often poor antigens and elicit a weak immune response. This is where a conjugated vaccine comes in. The capsule polysaccharide is linked to a protein that is a good antigen. The immune response first responds to the protein, and then, since the polysaccharide is linked, it responds to the polysaccharide too. This creates a robust response against the polysaccharide, providing protective immunity. One last type of vaccine is a DNA vaccine. This is still in development, but I suspect we will see examples of this vaccine in the next decade or so. How a DNA vaccine works is fascinating. DNA is injected that encodes proteins or an antigen from the pathogen. This DNA is injected into muscle. Muscle cells then express the DNA. They make proteins from a pathogen. This then stimulates an immune response. The advantages of a DNA vaccine are they would be cheap and quick to produce. Now that we have a little background in the different types of vaccines in terms of their composition, let's look at a couple of tables from a microbiology textbook showing examples of vaccines in use. This first one shows vaccines against bacterial disease. We have the disease, vaccine type, recommendation, and time for booster shots. Let me note that diphtheria and tetanus require a booster shot every 10 years. These are initially given in the DTaP combo in the childhood series of vaccines. I listed it here at the bottom. These protect against 3 bacterial diseases. They are recommending that adolescents and adults get the Tdap combo that provides extra protection against pertussis. Tdap differs from DTaP in that the quantity of diphtheria and pertussis antigens is less in the adult Tdap formulation. I encourage you to read over this table. I've highlighted the 2 most common combo vaccines at the bottom here. MMR protects against 3 viral diseases: measles, mumps, and rubella. This table continues to list vaccines that protect against viral disease. There is quite a list here. However, it is not complete, as rotavirus and Gardasil, which protects against HPV, are not included. I've put an asterisk by vaccines that are not part of the childhood series. This includes rabies, smallpox, and herpes zoster. Rabies is given for those who are at risk of being exposed to rabies, such as field biologists or veterinarians. It is also given to those suspected of being exposed, such as after an animal bite. Smallpox is only given to those working with vaccinia virus or military personnel. And herpes zoster is for adults. It protects against shingles. Again, read this table over on your own.